Hey folks, I'm here doing another practice SQL interview problem. Let's just go ahead and get started. As usual, I haven't looked at these or done these before. I'm going into it with no information about the question, just like I would in an interview. I'll pick one at random here. I'll do this Shopify order details one. All right, and because this is an easy question, according to Stratascratch, I'll start a timer and I'll try to get to it in under 4 minutes. All right, find order details made by Jill and Eva. Consider the Jill and Eva as first names of customers. Output the order date, details, and cost along with the first name. Order records based on the customer ID in ascending order. Okay, and there's two tables. All right. So the first thing that I like to do is understand the tables, and then the second thing is understand how the tables join to each other. So we have two tables. If I take a look at customer, it has several columns. In terms of what is useful to us, it's well, first name is useful because I have a hunch that we're going to need to filter by first name for Jill and Eva. And then we also need order details, order date, details, and cost, but those three are not in this table. Okay, so I think the only thing we'll need from this customers table is the first name. So that's what I think so far. The orders table has other information here, and again, we need order date, details, and cost. So if we look at this orders table, we have order date, details, and cost. Okay, great. So we've identified the important information that we need from each table. Now, how do we join these two tables together? Well, okay, so in customers, we have ID, and then orders, we have customers ID. So I think that that's how we'll join it together, the ID in customers and the cust ID in orders. This ID in orders probably looks promising, but it most likely, well, not most likely, it corresponds with an order ID, not a customer ID. All right, so we'll need to join these tables together. So let's go ahead and get started then. It doesn't look like we need to calculate anything. We just need to return certain information. So it asks for order date, which does not exist in the customers table. So we'll need to join the orders table to it. And like I mentioned, we'll do it based on orders cust ID equals customers.id. And then now let's return the information that it asks for. Order date, which is in orders. The details of the order. What is this column called? Order details. And then the cost as well, which is all from the orders table. And then it also wants us to return the first name, which comes from the customers table. Okay, so we have all the information that they've asked for. However, there is some additional filtering that they asked us to do. They only want this information from Jill and Eva. So we'll need to filter for where the customer first name is either Jill or Eva. And then they also want us to order the records based on customer ID in ascending order. So we can do order by, and then customer ID is in the customers table. I guess it's in both the orders and the customers table, so it doesn't matter which one you use. And they want it ascending, so we'll sort it ascending. Okay, let's check the solution, or let's check if this works. Order day, order details, yeah, okay, now let's check the solution. Great, it looks like this is correct, and it was in just under 4 minutes. There's a couple of things that I wanted to point out here. This type of problem, even though it's classified as easy, is pretty common in interviews. What's tricky about it, there's no aggregations or calculations that you have to do. There is a join, but it's pretty straightforward. But in my opinion, what's tricky about it is these two things. It asks you to filter for something, and then it also asks you to order the results in a certain way. Both of these things in isolation are simple. However, I've seen a lot of candidates get tripped up because they won't remember or they won't acknowledge the fact that they have to filter and order by something. They'll get this far, and they've returned what is asked, but they've missed some critical details. And companies really want to make sure that you are detail oriented, and that if you need to filter by something or order by something, that you'll actually do it. So the tricky part here, this is not a particularly tricky SQL problem. The trick is to make sure you really read and comprehend the question, and that you give the interviewer exactly the results that they're looking for. You might miss this order by, and that would get you dinged, I think, at most places. So just make sure to double check your work and to make sure that you're giving the interviewer exactly what they're looking for. All right, I hope that was helpful. If you guys want to practice SQL interview questions on your own, there's a lot of websites out there that have practice SQL questions. I personally like Stratascratch. I used it myself when I was interviewing, and I have a link to it in the video description in case you're interested. All right, thanks. I hope that was helpful.